So when we draw things in an oblique view or an oblique method, there are actually two types that we're going to discuss. One is cavalier and one is cabinet. And I'll explain the difference between them in a moment, but let's put this in our paper, on our paper right now. If you're taking notes for yourself, I would put this. Cavalier is all the way back and cabinet we're going to say halfway back. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. So for example, if we're going to sketch this object, so this rectangular shape, which is 3 of these cubes deep this way or wide, 2 cubes tall on its front, that's what the F stands for, and it goes back 2 cubes, then we always start, either way, when we do an oblique, we always start by just drawing the front, which I've decided is going to be this part of it. Now, on your paper, what I want you to do is to sketch, leave some space here, but sketch the front of the object. Let's make each of these squares, each of these sides, 2 squares on our paper big. So for example, the front of this, 1, 2, 3, is going to look like this. So this is 2 squares, but each one is going to be 2 of these on my paper, so that's going to be 4 this way and 6 this way. 2, 4, 6. We might as well do that for both forms or both styles here. Because in both cases, 1, 2, 3, we're going to start with the front of our object. And try to be as neat as you can with the lines. I'm trying to make it dark to be seen. It's a little sloppy, but we'll work with it. Now, and in both cases, after you've drawn the front of the object, the next step is to take, so we'll look at it like this, is to take the corners, this one, and this one, for example, and just lightly sketch a line that cuts the diagonal here. 45-degree angle. Cuts across each of these squares from corner to corner as you go across. We'll do that one, and they're all going to go back in the same direction. In this case, up and to the left. We could do back into the up and to the right, or there's a bunch of ways you could go, but we'll be consistent once we do. And we'll just sketch them back a ways. And let's do that for the other one as well. Doesn't matter how far, we're going to talk about that in a second. And these are just light lines to help guide me here. Okay. I don't draw this one back because I wouldn't be able to see it. Assuming this is a solid object, you wouldn't be able to see those lines going back. All right. This back corner, this side from here to here, you can't really see. But you can see this one, and this one. Now, for cavalier, we go all the way back. What that means is the following. We are about to go back 2 of these cubes, which is 4 blocks on our paper. So let's mark off how long that is. 4 blocks on our paper is this long. 4 blocks. So in cavalier, that's how far back we go. So we just mark off, it's about there, and about here, and all of them go back the same distance about there. And that is how far back we go. So I would make that darker, that darker, that darker, and then I would connect those points. I would erase this, and I would be done. Now, if you're looking at this, and you're saying to yourself, yes, that doesn't really look like this, and you would be correct. See, one of the problems with cavalier is when we go as far back as we're, quote, supposed to, when we have depth perception, when things go farther away, we don't need to go as far back and to get a realistic view. So, while cavalier will go all the way back, in other words, this length here is 4 of the squares, just like this. just like you would see here. Supposed to go back 4. Sorry, here we go. Supposed to go back 4, just like that. In cabinet, we only go half of the way back. So if it's 4 squares is what we're supposed to go back, we would actually only go back 2. So I'm going to mark this at 2 squares. From the corner of this paper to here is 2 squares. And I'm going to only go back that far. I'm going to make that mark. And then I connect those points. And I think you would probably agree that this looks more realistic. So cabinet, we only go half as far back as we're, quote, supposed to. And in Cavalier, we go all the way back. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do some shading. So the top of our object, here or here, will remain white. One of the sides will make darker. It really doesn't matter which one, but I'll make it the side here, this one. Make it darker, and this one will be medium or lightly shaded. And we'll do the same on the other one. So one side will be darker, one side will be medium, and the top will always remain white. Just to give some idea of shading. So what I want you to do now is, let's try this one. And we'll call this the front. Oops, sorry, there you go. We'll call this the front. All right, the tops will actually be here and here. And it's 1 cube back all the way across. So, like that. So we're going to sketch this. In fact, what I want you to do is really pause the video and then try this on your own and see if yours looks like mine, instead of just copying what I'm doing. So we're going to draw our front, and we're going to go for all of them. We're going to draw the front first. It's 1, 2, 3 blocks tall. 1 block over, a couple down, 1 over. So our front looks like this in both cases. Now, let's go this direction. Could go a lot of different directions. Let's go this one. So I draw a light line back to help me as a guide, and I'll do that from every possible corner that I'm going to be able to see. All of them cut back at 45 degrees. Now, we're supposed to go back 2 of our little squares. So I'm going to mark off where 2 squares is here. So we're going to go, in fact, I'll do it this way. So from here to here is 2 squares. So that's how far back on Cavalier, remember this is Cavalier. So we're going to go back 2 squares, which is going to put us about here. And I'll just do that for all of them. And then it'll connect the dots. So I go over, straight down, over, straight down, and then these all get darkened here. And that's Cavalier, all the way back. Of course, for cabinet, we're going to go halfway back. So if this is 2 blocks, then let's mark off 1 block. We'll do it somewhere different. So right here, from here to here, is only half of that, 1 block, right here. So I'm going to do that little distance. All right, oops, got to fold my paper. There we go. So on all these, we're going to mark back that distance, which is almost, might as well just use it diagonally here. It's just about like that. About like that. And fill in these. All right. Get rid of the extraneous lines, the guidelines we were using, and we'll do our shading, and we'll be good to go. So the shading, remember, the tops here and here remain white. I'll do this right-hand side as dark. So that gets dark, and this faces that way as well. So I do the same over here. And then this side here will be a medium shade or lighter shaded. Should look like that.